All right, and we're live. What's going on? Happy Cinco de Mayo. Every F bomb equals one tequila shot. I don't think we're gonna do that, but I think that would be disastrous. Actually, I gotta be totally honest with you. Uh, yeah, let's see. We got a bunch of news this week. What's the first thing? Oh, the Helium mobile stuff that went live. That seems like people are super psyched on that on Twitter. I haven't been messing with it because I've been doing a bunch of other stuff on both Deep in State. Oh, here comes Joey. And let me change it over so that we get two of us in here. Stand by, Joey. You are not BFG Neil, but we'll change that in a second. I thought I changed this. My bad. Joey at Helium Foundation. Cool. There we go. Joey, what's going on, dog? I was just talking about mobile, which I haven't tried. Can you hear me?
Wait, who are we talking to?
I was talking
Yeah,
to
I
you.
can hear you.
Cool. Yeah. I was just talking about Helium Mobile, which I haven't loaded up yet, but I think you made the first ever tweet from mobile. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, which reminds me, I wanted to just tether off of my phone just for the hell of it.
Okay.
So probably screw something up. But
Oh yeah, we just lost you totally. This is a live demo of what's going on. It's amazing.
oh,
Are you back? Nope. Totally frozen. Keenan, good to see you. Sinkhole de Mayo. Well, hopefully not. Mike, big week. Yeah. Apparently it's been pretty big. Jeremy, what's going on? Feliz Cinco. Yeah, yeah. And Lee is psyched about Friday. Well, we'll see if we get Joey back. You there? No. I can see you moving. That's it. Nikki, Red Sky, what's going on? Working on the people counter again after 5 months off. I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going to go back in and get that thing working. Joey, you back with us? No. Totally not. Well, this is building live. This is what it looks like. Here we go. We'll bring him back in. He's got it sorted. There we go.
oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
Okay. That was our.
Ecamm did not like that.
No. Ecamm, it's a very
Oh
particular
no,
piece of
no, I
software.
can't hear you. Well,
Ah, you'll get it. You'll get it. You should be able to hear me because I'm not mute, but you'll get it. What's going on, Travis? WTV,
all
Vision
right,
Grid,
time
all the
out. I'll be
peeps.
right back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was our live demo of Helium Mobile, and I think, look, here's the thing: is all of that stuff is kind of to be expected. We get this sense of all of these launches should be perfect and nothing should go wrong and everything should be pre-tested, and that's not how crypto works. That's not how Helium runs. That is not the deal. And so I see a bunch of folks. All right, Joey, I see a bunch of folks just complaining. I've got one guy on my YouTube who's like super pissed that his miner is dead after the transition. It's like, dude, you didn't fucking do anything. Like, you've got to do something. And he doesn't even understand that he's saying like my miner's dead, and what is actually happening is he's not seeing his rewards because he hasn't updated his app, and I think he's on the blue app still. It's like, dude, I don't know
Hmm.
what I can do for you.
Yeah,
So it's just an asshole
definitely.
talk.
Some people sometimes need a little tough love. You're good at that.
Yeah.
On the topic of apps, though, good news. The We're about to roll this out, but the Apple App Store finally approved us for 2.0.7. Uh,
Congratulations.
so, yep, Friday, little win. That'll be out soon. It's just going to be kind of dependent on App Store propagation and all of that. But that's going to fix a bunch of like the crashing bugs with claiming. It does a bunch of simulations for transactions, so you can see what's going to happen. Um, we block the spam NFTs because that was terrible.
That
Like
was a
the
problem, huh?
scammers went,
Yeah.
they went wild. Yeah, like they
Those
get a little
scammers.
taste of blood in the water. Yeah. Um, and so yeah, now we're only going to show the official Helium NFTs in the Helium app, and then that'll buy us some time to sort of think about maybe a broader like filtering solution or something like that. But right now, there's no reason to show any extra stuff. If you had NFTs, you probably also had Phantom. You can go look at your NFTs in there. You don't need the Helium Wallet app for that. So
That's right. You've been psyched on this Phantom thing, and I'm still like so behind. I haven't touched it at all. Um, what's going on with that? It's like that seems pretty easy. You just open up a Phantom wallet and migrate the Helium thing in.
yeah, I mean, it looks
Okay.
a lot like the Helium Wallet app. And I've become like this Phantoms fanboy, but Soul Flare, there's like a bunch of other ones that sort of do the same stuff, and I just really haven't poked around too much.
You're like the face of
Um,
Phantom for Helium. I like it.
yeah, I know they gave me some props. They're like, Joey, thanks for this like shout out you gave us. I was like, I don't. It's just thanks for building a good wallet. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for Helium stuff, the Helium wallet app's always going to be the best option because it's got all the like utilities for claiming and all of that stuff. And none of that's ever going to be built into Phantom. Like, I don't expect that. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. Helios Hyperion. I think I can add this to the broadcast and see if we can answer this. I thought we answered this in one of the million shorts I did. Can you explain what's up with Ledger? I haven't done anything with Ledger and claiming staked IoT rewards. I keep getting cannot simulate transaction. Um, yeah. Joey?
Yeah,
Help?
let's see. Sorry. I gotta turn off my notifications. I get so distracted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, well, so we don't support Ledger in the Helium wallet app, so I'm a little confused by
Ah,
that.
okay.
Oh wait, so it's staking though.
I think it's just claiming staked rewards. I don't understand the Ledger
Yeah.
part.
So the ledger part should be irrelevant. That would really just be a key handling thing. So the cannot simulate transaction uh, sounds like an issue related to whatever wallet they would be using.
Hmm. Or maybe they don't have enough
Um,
soul. That seems like the answer 90% of the time.
a lot of times that is it. We also have been chasing some bugs on Realms. Like there's sort of some legacy code there that we've had to like beat into shape to work for what we're doing. And so I would say if that continues to be an issue, just definitely drop into the Helium Discord and like grab the attention of one of the mods or community managers or me, and we can try to like diagnose a little bit more. It's a little hard with just that sort of one liner.
Yeah. 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 He's firing up in the chat there. He's saying you can connect Ledger with Soulflare, Realms, Helium, DAO, and everything else.
Yep, yep.
All right.
Uh,
Cool.
Travis asked if I'm on Helium Mobile, and yes, I am officially
Oh,
tethered
you got it
right now.
worked. You got it working. Cool.
Yeah. No,
I
uh,
thought Ecamm stopped the whole thing. No.
no, Ecamm got mad that I dropped the connection and then I had to restart, but
Okay.
I could see the text coming through, but the video feed stopped.
All right. Oh, badass.
Yeah.
Let's see. Siegfried's not happy about Helium Wallet app not supporting Ledger hardware. He views it as a
Yeah.
non-starter. All right. Well, I'm sure it'll come back, but for right now, probably not.
So to Siegfried's point, like we've got full set of mocks. It just didn't make the cut for the release right now. There were some complicated. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the complication.
There's like minor rolling disasters that are being fixed. Probably.
Well, I don't know if you caught any of the like just constant trying to like get Ledger to do stuff. But
Uh oh, no.
anyway, we've got a full spec for that. We
Okay.
definitely want to bring that in. That's important.
Okay. And I'm seeing that yeah, a couple folks. So here's the thing: I'm seeing a bunch of problems, and that's part of kind of what this show was for, was to get it kind of direct from the horse's mouth. So Joey comes on. Doesn't mean we're going to fix all of them, and I think the more important thing is to zoom back out and look at the bigger picture and say, like, look, overall the transition was incredibly. I love the shirt. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you.
Back out, look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, I like it. Overall, the transition was incredibly smooth for how big it was. There's always going to be like these little shit show and kind of tail of stomping bugs. So I would expect
Yep.
things to not work perfectly for another month or so, but overall, maybe 2 months. Overall, man, what a transition! Fucking bravo, bravo! After 2 weeks, I thought the whole thing was going to break and I was going to be totally right, but I was wrong. You guys crushed it.
In the can. I actually get to say it this time.
Yeah, it is.
Retroactively, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. Questions. Maybe Joey. Maybe we should find someone to do like this Helium wallet pairing and just do a special show just on that, on like Solana transition bug stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a bunch of these people who are saying, "How do you do this? How do you do that?" I'm on blah blah blah.
I'd be into something like that. We could just kind of like, it's like a little fix it booth. We can
Yeah.
just like, hey, what's your problem? Let's go through it. And
Yep.
if it's something we haven't seen, we'll document it and chase it down. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it could be a good thing to do.
Cool. What you
And
sipping on there? Is that coffee?
just coffee. Yeah,
Okay.
man, I got I've been catching up on sleep. I got sick this week. It
Oh.
was a struggle, but feeling a lot better today.
Okay. Good. Well, I'm glad you're back.
Yeah.
BFG Neil coming on. BFG Neil, get on the show, dude. He's giving you a hard time. It's in the can. That's gonna break. When is there gonna be a
Yeah,
self-hosted Helium Explorer? I don't know. I don't know if
you
that's ever
can
gonna happen.
self-host Helium Explorer. It's open source. Somebody already did it.
Okay.
They were just using the same endpoints and stuff. It's the same thing. But
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. I am super psyched. I've been talking with Paul about running on. I'm gonna get all the terms wrong, but like big running like an LNS. So moving off of, if I'm understanding right, moving off of Helium console and over onto Paul's thing, and I'm gonna run all
Hmm.
that through Medio Scientific, and then just resell whatever access to it. So if people want to use it, they can use it. But that's pretty cool.
Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul has been absolutely cranking. We're gonna have to get a Paul show and have him walk through what he's built because he took some of the best parts of Helium console and merged them with the best parts of Chirpstack. So you get all the power of Chirpstack with some of the usability of Helium console.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a pretty good offering.
I'm pretty psyched. Yeah. 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 It's just like, I think that's one of the things that Helium opened up for me was the ability to work with really technologically savvy people and have them understand that I don't understand this shit, but I'm psyched on it.
Hmm.
And it's like it's a real gift to work with people who are so good at all this stuff. So
Oh, it's wild. You'll go like poking around for LoRaWAN libraries, and it'll be like, oh, the Disk 91 thing, and it's just like, oh, that's Paul, or it'll be
yeah,
Lewis from Nova Labs, right? Like his name pops up all the time because he's written like the
yeah,
only libraries in Rust, and
yeah. He did
yeah,
something that was like a Helium statistics, and I just like broke my brain. No, I didn't do that. It was fucking hard to get it to work, and then finally he's like, "Hey, dude, there's a way easier way. Just hit this link and download a CSV." And then once I did that, that was super easy.
yeah. I just bought one of those Seed reterminals, like the 10-inch one.
Ooh,
It's a big industrial touchscreen,
you have my
and
full
I've got
jealous attention.
I might have to go. It's on a short cable, but maybe we'll do a little tour here.
Yeah.
Um, but I threw the stats on there, so I can see data credit burn as a constant thing, and that's coming off of Lewis's uh, library that he
Oh,
pulled together.
God, yeah. I've got to learn all the terms. So,
All right,
libraries,
let's
endpoints, various things. We're gonna do a
hold on.
tour.
Let me. All right, let's see how this works.
Ooh, the life of Joey.
Yeah, this is
Let's see,
the.
Michael Batters. How many royalty splits will the network allow for NFTs? What is the max royalty percentage artists can mint with that, and what that you'll accept and not get lost like on OpenSea? Fuck, I don't
Oh
know,
God,
Michael.
this is terrible.
Ooh,
What am I doing? Oh,
look at
it's so
that thing.
backward. There we go. It's a bistro.
Ultra fancy. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I'm just melting with jealousy here. That thing's rad.
Right? So I gotta slap that thing on a desk. It's running. I think it'll run off power over Ethernet, but I'm not quite sure. I haven't gotten that to work. It might need passive or something, but
That's all you get of the inside of Joey's lab. It's like there's top secret
it's
shit going on in there.
such a disaster in there right now. That's why
Oh
I'm in the
yeah,
living room.
this thing behind me is just covered with. I found a pair of pliers I've been looking for 3 weeks. It was under a piece of paper on that desk. I just found it this morning.
Yours looks pretty in comparison. Trust me.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, Jamie Wilkinson sent me like 50 Raspberry Pis and concentrators. So we've got like a sort of allotment of data only hotspots that we can send to people.
Okay.
Those live in that room right now.
Nice.
It's basically made it impossible to move around.
Nice. I thought I was wealthy with 5 extra pies, but 50 is a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, unrelated to helium, but something that Germ is into and turned me on to. Have you seen this Raspberry Shake thing? It's a
Oh,
pi based, I don't know, like seismograph, and it measures Earth movement. It's
oh,
super
cool.
cool, and I can't wait for it. Like they're gonna figure out how to make it a deep end project at some point. I think right now they don't know or care about it. But if
Hmm.
you look at the Raspberry Shake website, they'll have a map of all around the world and where everybody's deployed these things. And it's like, oh, well, this is where the Earth is shaking here. And they also have some atmospheric tracking stuff as well. But it's like, oh, well, clearly this needs to be a deepened project.
Huh. Is like GeoNet and Onecoin, like, would those be precise enough to detect Earth shakes? I guess not. Like,
I think
maybe.
they go down to the millimeter for the station, so they should be. And I think over time they get better and better and better. So
Yeah.
that's definitely one of the things GeoNet does. I think this. I mean, this is like an extra geeky thing that is built on a Raspberry Pi. As far as I know, you can't buy your own Pi and then add this thing in. The whole thing comes as
Hmm.
one box,
Yeah,
and
I think
then
I've seen those. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's kind of a cool thing.
That'd be
All
neat.
right. Let's see. Geez, I got behind on the chats.
It's
Siegfried is
blown by.
arguing with Travis about imported keys. Okay, I'll let you guys hash that out in the chat. Rand 2002. I wish I could see my stake rewards without claiming them. I get a cannot simulate error message when I try to claim staked rewards. I think that's part of the thing we talked
Oh
about
yeah.
earlier.
Well, so the cannot simulate thing is that's fixed in the new release.
Okay, so you just got to
Um,
update your app. Is that right?
yeah, so
Okay.
we are. I think it, any minute now we should have an app release going out to the App Store. It'll
I
take
mean,
a little bit for that to
just say it,
propagate.
Joey. It's in the can. Just say
I mean, it's a. I don't know how deep that can is. So it's
it.
on its way. Uh, Yeah, and then so yeah, the basically what you'll be able to do is like you can hit claim tokens. It'll pop up the little simulation thing. It'll actually tell you what you're going to get now. But ideally, you don't even have to do that. Like there should be presumably a way to just like tell you how many tokens are outstanding.
Yeah.
Because I'm interested. I'd love to track that stuff over time. And folks sort of need that information to redelegate their tokens if they want to like move from IoT to mobile or vice versa.
Yeah.
Uh,
Dude, how many people are going to redelegate because you're going to lose that 3x land rush?
yeah, don't do that. I don't know, not
Yeah.
financial advice. I'm
It's
not
just
doing it, so I'm locked
yeah.
in.
That's
Yeah,
what it seems like. That's the easiest way to do. Is like, here's what I'm doing. I'm doing fucking nothing. I did everything I'm going to do. I'm not going to touch all that stuff
and
for a
and
while.
we see that on the delegation chart right now, like that thing that I just showed you.
Yep.
It curves up, and then it just like there's a flat sort of line of everyone locked it in for the land rush, and it's
Yeah.
been incremental.
Yeah. 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 Max was telling me when they were discussing that he was helping with that like way back when they were talking about the land rush stuff. And I think it was like, hey, how about 1.5x? Like, how about 3x? Like, okay, cool. It's like it's gonna be like anything that gets people to stay locked up is gonna be the thing.
Yeah.
Let's see, hacking this and that whole new season of community contribution. Yeah, so this actually hack. This goes into. I did an interview this morning separate on the Deep in State thing with this lady out of India, and they're doing like Uber on blockchain kind of thing. So it's a Deep in Uber project called Drife, DRIFE, and she had such a cool perspective on it, on how blockchain kind of unlocks freedom. And I think a lot of us forget what Helium was kind of started for in some way, was to make it so that anyone could use this pretty easily. And we're certainly not there yet, but that's the end goal, is like make this thing, permissionless, accessible, all that stuff, so that we can all use the same thing. So I think in that kind of vein, we're going to see this a ton of community contribution coming up. So cool. Let's see. All your spaces look the same across the board. I don't know what you're talking about, Lee. Huh. Okay. And then Michael still has this question about NFT splits. Do you know anything about that, Joey? Can you split an NFT in unlimited amount of percentage ways? I think he's talking about like hotspot rewards, but I'm not sure.
Oh, so like a claim
I think
on a
so, but I'm not.
hotspot.
It's not clear.
There's nobody's built it yet that I
Okay.
have seen. It is technically possible to sort of have uh, I don't know what the right term would be, but like a little agent that manages your hotspot and then can delegate out those rewards. So this is helpful for the folks doing like host sharing and things like that. You can programmatically set whatever sort of schedule you want, and it would delegate out those rewards.
Huh. And there's no limit to how many times it can split. Like, could it split it to 1,000 people or unknown?
Yeah. No, I think you probably hit some like instruction limits there.
Okay. It's gonna be
But
some weird geek number like 256 or 512 or 128 or whatever. Yeah.
basically, yeah,
Fucking nerds.
yeah,
Siegfried, I don't know this. You sound fairly confident because this is in all caps.
that is true.
Okay, good.
So yeah, the redelegating does not break the land rush bonus. Your delegation is your delegation. If you split or like undelegate or whatever, there's. I think we tried to outline some of that in the docs, but
Okay.
yes, you can take an existing stake pre land rush and delegate it from IoT or mobile or whatever over time.
Okay.
Great catch there.
Yeah, nice, dude. Siegfried's on it. Ran
Yes, yes.
2002. There's this long question. Can you address the massive backlog on CrowdSpot? They look at 5 to 10 reviews a day, and there's over 4,000 to work. The current wait time is 107 days. I don't know. My guess would be like, fuck, I don't know. There's a lot of people doing other things that they think are more important. Would be my guess, but I
I
don't know.
mean, there's people still working on CrowdSpot. I'm not one of them, so I can't speak specifically to that. But I know they've been trying to build better tooling and all sorts of like folks are definitely taking that seriously.
Yeah, I mean that's as
But
far as like
yeah,
the anti-gaming effort. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Bobby, Chad, I'm writing another hit for another 24-hour land rush. 1 year from a merge date to Solana. Okay,
1
very
year
cool.
from a. Well, this is getting confusing. So, okay.
We can't get enough land rushes. I think that's the bottom line. We need more land
Yeah,
rushes.
yeah. Well, if everything's a land rush, then nothing's a land rush. But yeah,
Yeah, we need more. We need
send
more
it.
multiples.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, this guy. So actually, Scott Lewis. I don't know if you're the guy that I've been arguing with on YouTube. I don't think so because you sound a little bit more reasonable. And the dude on YouTube has been a little bit of a j hole. But it's this Bobcat offline thing. So it's
Yes.
working. Go ahead. What do you got, Joey?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the manufacturers be a little slow to update their apps, and so
Okay.
likely what you're seeing is that it's not like that thing that's quantifying offline is based on some sort of connectivity that just doesn't exist on the hotspot hardware or
Okay.
software anymore. Um, and so if it's earning rewards, then do not worry about it. I would say if it's offline and you feel like your manufacturer has properly updated their app and it's not earning rewards, then maybe start reaching out. But yeah, if you're seeing IoT rewards and it looks sort of, within the expectation of what you were seeing before the migration, then yeah, you should be good to go.
Okay. He just said this is awesome. He just said no.
No,
Fuck,
no.
I don't know. I don't know, Scott. Help me a little bit. Help us help you.
I don't know what the no part is,
Yeah,
but
no, me
yeah,
neither. That was awesome. No, no,
yeah.
you're wrong.
Uh,
Okay, Chad. A lot of people missed out and were afraid to stake during land rush due to Solana. Fucking sorry. That's their problem. I don't know. That seems like if you what is it? Fortune favors the bold. Faint heart never won fair maiden. Come on, Bobby.
yeah,
You fucking staked. You figured it out. Anyone else can.
you could still stake. I guess is the most I could say on that. Like I've even staked some stuff after the land rush. It's just like, I got these around. Like I'll throw them in for 6 months or something like that. Like dip your
Yeah.
toe in with, yeah, give it a try.
That is legal financial advice coming straight from Joey at Helium Foundation. Dip your
No,
toe in immediately.
don't 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 do that. I take it all back. I'm
Like I
gonna
can't
get
get off
somebody
this
to
thing
like
fast enough. Uh,
somebody's gonna like plug a taser onto me, and I can
yeah.
start getting zapped on these calls.
Speaking of that, I think we now have Class C available. If
Oh, jeez. You just put all the pieces together. Yep.
yeah, so that's a big deal because there's this company called Busy Light, and they do something. I think it's a light that you put over your office, and it shows like green or red, and you can send it commands, and there's a bunch of stuff. But it was had some Class C functionality to it. So when I talked to them a while ago, they said, "Hey, we'll send you one once Helium has Class C." So I just talked to him yesterday. I'm like, it's got it. That's why I think I asked you, Joey. So
Yeah.
I think they're expecting me to do something with like a light over an office, but I want to do something rad. Like I'm wondering if I can put it on, I don't know, like a cop car or like put it on City Hall or do like something super fun with it. Be like, yeah, these guys are not open for business.
Yeah.
Not
I well,
anti
so
cops. I'm fucking pro cop, but just like something more than putting it on a fucking office door.
I think they're relatively small.
Oh, you've seen them,
Like
right?
yeah. So Carrie from Baxis picked one up. Just
Oh,
she
okay.
just went on a rampage and bought all the coolest sensors that she could find. Um,
Nice job, Carrie.
and yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'll be curious to see what you do with it. Like it's a great little platform for a Class C device, and yeah, figure
Yeah,
that stuff out.
I'm psyched. Let's see. Travis has a Class C shot collar you can borrow. All right, Travis.
Of course
So
he
what we should
does.
do is we should put this. We should do this live on State of the Network, and we'll just send the shot collar around. You can track it using the track pack stuff, and
Hmm.
then you'll kind of know who's going to get shocked next, and we'll do something that allows. Maybe we'll have some like votes. We should do a DAO. We should make this ultra complicated.
Yeah, we're just gonna give the other end of that shot collar to our general counsel, and he can just zap us at will.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's not zapping me. I'm not putting that fucking thing on.
Yeah, you're immune. Yeah.
Let's see. Nick, please talk about the halving coming out. Everything gets cut in half, including staking rewards. That is correct. I agree. That is correct. Yeah, the halving will cut everything in half. Do the smart lights I buy at home help me earn more rewards? I'm trying to justify new yard lights for the last. Nope, they don't. I don't think so. Um, God, there's a bunch of silly questions in here now. Um, have you seen anything with nanotags lately, Joey? I was talking to those guys a
Most,
bunch and they were psyched, and then I heard nothing.
I mean, the majority of it's just been through Neil, honestly.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
All
Uh,
right.
I mean, the platform is the platform. It works, so I think they're probably heads down trying to like find users and stuff. But
Cool.
yeah, I don't know. I haven't talked to them. I've never talked to them directly. I've just kind of like grabbed some tags and
Never actually
did my
confirmed
own
they
thing.
exist.
Well, I know they exist, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, they were. We were talking about them sending me like a box of those things, and then we do some kind of game or cool giveaway with them. So,
Mm.
oh, BFG Neil says nano things are busy with us. That's why.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
That's good.
And that's why Neil can't come on. He's like he's got 6 monitors. This is just one of them.
Yeah.
So
I am going to give you a heads up. I got to drop in 4 minutes. Got to talk to
okay.
some folks. We're launching another thing, so
Oh,
more
what are you
stuff on the
launching? Is
way.
it secret or no?
Uh, we are trying to make it a lot easier for folks to get data credits without needing HNT. So
Oh,
we'll sort of leave it at that. But network users oftentimes aren't crypto folks, so we need to sort of smooth that gap and make the onboarding easy.
yeah. Dig it. Yeah, it is. It is like a gateway crypto thing for a lot of people, and I think a lot of us tend to
I
forget
mean,
that all the time.
just to sort of circle back on the Helium mobile thing, like everyone who just signed up for that and loaded the app created a Solana wallet. So like when you get your grandma or
Surprise!
whatever to like join Helium Mobile, she's suddenly a degen. Like it sneaks its way in there, and the user experience couldn't have been smoother. That was pretty cool.
Cool. I gotta dig into that. I know when I went out to the Miami thing, they're like, hey, you get it wasn't free mobile for life, but it was some super good deal that
Mhm.
you got. So I've got to sort that out.
Yeah, they did. It's $25 a month for unlimited forever. And then they're in this like beta right now that is just free. So that's what I'm running. That's what I'm on this call with right now.
Okay. Cool. Super cool. Dig it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. I had some issues with DC and HNT2. I think you walked me through them, and it was just
Mhm.
it's a matter of kind of like fiddling around in the app, and I think it got a lot easier. It's easy when you know how.
Yeah, I have got about a third of a documentation run done on data credits, adding a bunch of cool little calculators and tools into the docs, which will be fun. But we, yeah, the process is different than what we're used to, but it is actually pretty clear once you kind of know what you're looking for.
Okay. Yeah, once you get in there, it's pretty easy. Neil, let me bring you in, and then we'll boot Joey out, and I'll go back to the thing
Oh,
we had
perfect.
before.
Thought I was going to leave you all lonely.
No, no, dude,
That's,
I can roll
that's why I
solo.
thought I'd jump on.
Yeah, yeah, I don't mind. I
Yeah.
don't mind taking the controls. But you got a
Okay.
bail anyway, right, Joey?
Yeah, just in a minute here. So I'll actually probably dip out now since we're doing a little intermission. And
Okay.
happy weekend, everybody. Good seeing y'all.
Right on. I'll bring it back to 2 and just me and Neil. Thanks, Joey.
Later.
Leets. All right, Neil, let me get you in here. Thanks for coming on, dude. You
No
and I are
worries.
doing opposite haircuts. You now have a normal haircut.
It's going green this weekend. It's fine, but I
Is
do
it?
like
Okay.
the fact you've got the mullet back.
Yeah,
You look.
yeah.
I like a mullet on you. Just that's how I met you. So that's
It just
how I
it
always
feels a
picture
little
you.
safer.
You know? Yeah.
I walked into this barber shop yesterday because Lee, it's usually Lee that cuts my hair, and I just ran out of time and I've been meaning to do it for a while. And I was like, hey, I don't really give a fuck what you do with my hair. I want a mullet, but go for it. And the poor guy, I don't think he'd given many haircuts in his life, and so he starts in on it, and there's two guys there. It's him who's the guy working, and then the guy who owns the shop. And after like 20 minutes, the guy who owns the shop finishes up with his client, comes over, pushes my guy out of the way, and just finishes it off. I felt so bad for the second guy, but it's funny. Neil, what's going on with you, dude?
Yeah, just keeping really busy, just deep in code, same as Daniel, building a solution and testing it with clients.
And
It's
you're
a
you're
lot of
starting to
work.
get serious traction, right? I saw one of your tweets got what, like 40,000 views or something ridiculous.
Yeah, Joey's just been great talking about TrackPack for us. It's just getting a hell of a lot of press, and it's the same with like Mapbox. I talked internally to everyone at Mapbox the other day, all 300 of them or so. There's just a ton of interest. Mapbox referred to us as the future of asset tracking, which is just crazy.
That's a pretty big
What
deal.
we've built over the last couple of years can we literally change the whole industry. So it's really exciting. And yeah, we're seeing some massive trials love our system. And now they're talking about how they deploy it on a very large scale. So it's really exciting times, but it's a ton of work.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you coming on because I know that when you're in kind of fire mode, it's hard to break off. But also, every so often, it's nice to like, hey, I'm going to take like 10 minutes and
Yeah.
not do this thing I've been plugging my face into for 24 hours.
Coding is really one of those things like you kind of get into a zone and everything just blanks out like the door could go and I wouldn't hear it. And
Yeah,
that's what I've been like today. So
yeah. No, Lee will come in. She'll ask me some stuff, and I'm just like, I'm trying to
yeah.
figure out something, usually with your help or someone else's. And she'll be like, hey, I mean, she could say, like, hey, the house is on fire and there's a murder. And I'd be like, that's great. Like, I'll be right there. And then I won't
Mm.
be right there.
Yeah, I'll
Like,
be
she's got
there
to
in a
like
minute. Yeah.
physically
Yeah.
shake me to be like, hey, there is a problem I need you to solve.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. Let's see. So he kicked off some asshole who was talking shit. Leets. And then Keenan is arguing with Ed about who is whose mom. So that's good. One of the things, Neil, that I always kind of come back to and I'd like to explore a little bit more is this idea that any helium device that is moved or not moved can use the system that you're building as far as positioning.
Mm.
And it
Yeah.
tends to get overlooked, right? Like people just think like, oh, I'm just going to use a tracker, but you can actually use anything.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the way that we see it in two ways. Obviously, we're building it for tracking, but at the end of the day, it's what I'm terming, proof of location. So the same way Hive Mapper knows that your mapper's actually in the area, we know that anything's in any area. So if you want to track, for example, whiskey bottles in a warehouse, you can, and you can know where they are. Or if you want to track absolutely anything, you can, and that's what the nanotags enables. There's like some use cases where I just prefer GPS,
Yeah.
like for example a pet tracker or maybe a car tracker, expensive item tracker. But if the main job that you want to do is like temperature for compliance reasons, and then have a rough location, then nanotags are perfect, and this location engine's perfect. But there's better projects like the one that you're working with, GeoNet, that can do millimeter accuracy, right? So if you want to know where something is inside of a warehouse, then that's a much better project than a nanotag's ever going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like finding the right use cases.
It is. It's funny because, and maybe it's me. I'm guessing it's a lot of people. As you come into this and you see helium and you get excited about LoRaWAN, and you're like, well, how do I apply this to everything? How do I apply this to my toothbrush? And then you realize, like, well, it's probably not that great for your toothbrush. It's much more applicable to places where you've got wide areas and it's this kind of LP WAN sweet spot.
Mm.
But with that said, I've
But
just
you
been
could,
like, fuck it, I'm gonna put it all over my house.
I've always liked the idea of us having a like a globally people led CO2 monitor all over the world. So emissions monitors, they don't need a GPS in them. They can literally be a humid a CO2 sensor, and then we can work out the location of them and draw it on a map. So a service like that can exist without having to extend the battery life to support a GPS unit, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, to hack this and that, yes, we can do any sensors, absolutely anything. It doesn't matter. So you can send blank payload, and we'd still be able to work out where the location is as long as it's more than 3 or 4 packets are on.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's just like it's kind of mind blowing how I think of it, and I'm curious what happens, once we get further down the line and it gets more and more sophisticated. But as you get I've got like
Mm.
I don't know what this is in square meters, but a 3,000 square foot property is what my entire property is. Like it's a tiny little postage stamp of like classic suburban Southern California lot, like a really small place. So helium isn't really appropriate for what I'm doing because I could hit everything with Wi-Fi and all my neighbors as well. But I got a buddy who's got funnily enough, a camel ranch out in eastern San Diego. He's got 40 acres and 15 or 20 head of camel. And he's growing lavender and a couple other things. Like helium's perfect for that. It's like, oh, you want to see where
Yeah.
the camel is when it gave birth. You want to see the temperature of the camel, like whatever sensor you want to put on the camel, or the lavender for the soil moisture or whatever. There's places where it's really really useful.
I think like a lot of the time as well, it's like quite nice to if you've got an old home, it's quite nice to upgrade it with LoRaWAN sensors.
Yeah,
Doors, windows, temperature, humidity, and sensors. I mean, it's not like you say you could do it all on Wi-Fi, but I just love that helium's so long life that you could really just set it and forget it. Whereas
yeah,
if you're limited on Wi-Fi, that you probably have to give it power and it has to be near a plug socket. But with helium, you can just stick those sensors all over. It's just about making, in my mind, it's like about making apps easier to use helium. So like I've always saw like a really good app would be like a kind of layer on top of Home Assistant. So it
hmm
just deals with Home Assistant for you, but allows you to add your helium sensors to it.
oh yeah, love that. I mean, that's like the I think
Yeah.
this month's project for me is doing like LoRaWAN on the home because I've got all these
Mm.
sensors and I was coordinating with all these businesses and I was like, fuck it, I've already got my own business. I got my own house. Like rather than coordinate with this stuff, I'll just put it all in here and I'll start tracking
Mhm.
all the different room temperatures and see what the temperature difference is like up at the ceiling versus down to the floor. All of that stuff. And all that stuff is running off Home Assistant. So yeah, I would like someone to build that too.
Yeah, it'd be really good fun. It would be hard to do. I mean, there's a whole API for it, so you can just like automate a lot of the stuff.
Yeah,
And you could sell it as a kit. I've always thought it'd be really good as a kit that with like a Home Assistant LoRaWAN gateway base that you then
ooh, I
pair
like it.
with five door sensors, temperature and humidity sensor, maybe some soil moisture sensors for the garden.
Yeah,
You could like this. You could start upgrading that kit. You can get a basic kit, or maybe you just want one thing. You could do that, but
yeah.
you have a nice base then, and all the data is stored on the actual thing. So it lasts forever and doesn't cost you anything to do with all the benefits of helium.
What's not to like? Let's
Yeah.
see. This one I haven't seen. We haven't talked about this in a while. We talked about this a while
Mm.
ago. Accuracy of RF trilateration. What is it now with what you're doing?
It's difficult. Um, we're trying to optimize it as much as we can, but sometimes it's as accurate as like 1,000 foot. Sometimes it's as accurate as like 500 foot. Or
Okay.
to me, that's like 500 meters to maybe slightly less.
Yep.
But it's not. It would never be good enough unless we have some upgrades to the helium network to do it even closer than that. But a lot of the companies that we've had really good success with, location is secondary. The most important thing is temperature compliance
Yep.
with rough location. So that's where we're really doing well with nanotag. So yeah, trilateration isn't perfect if you need to know where it is in a warehouse, but it's great if you need to know is that delivery in the right city and is it being delivered to the right person.
Yeah. 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 Like it gets you to the kind of neighborhood. So
Mm.
I think if you maybe we think about this like worst case, which is what you should plan for, is what is 1,000 feet, 300 meters, 330 meters. Siegfried will tell me
Mm.
exactly what it is. But yeah,
Yeah.
300 to 400 meters, pretty close enough, quarter mile. So that's what it is. And then it always, I think I started on this thought and then got off track. It always comes back to like, what problem are you trying to solve? And then once
Mhm.
you have the problem kind of parameters, then you can say, oh, well, Wi-Fi is good for this or LoRaWAN's good for that or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think what we've realised and what we're doing so well with nanotags, for example, is that they're cheap. I know there's everyone's getting them at the tester price at the moment through CalChip, but when you go down to as low as they can get, they are cheap. But the difference is that like explaining to someone that this is a sticker that will track for 2 years, and this size for that cheap, then it really starts to change the game.
Yeah.
And like what we've been finding a lot, and this is what Rob's been saying and I've been saying for years, the tech has not caught up with helium. it's still stuck and not fit for purpose and too expensive.
Yep.
So as soon as something new comes along that's quite cheap, it absolutely changes the game. So we need to be thinking about creating the humidity sensors that are $10, $5. Try and get into the hardware and get that hardware done, because that's what we really need to grow this network. That is the barrier to entry right now. It's just too expensive and complicated.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, yeah. I'm seeing like the LH. I mean, I was looking for a just a temperature and humidity sensor, and they're still, $35. There's nothing that I can find that's like $5. And $35 is
Yeah.
fine if you're putting a couple of them in, but I want to put, four at every corner of the ceiling of the room and four at every corner of the bottom of the room. And so I've got if I get them for $5, that's $40 a room, and I've got way better accuracy than most test labs. And all of a sudden I can see like, oh, when I turn my whole house fan on, it cleans out my office, but it doesn't touch the bedroom. And so I need to move whatever it is around.
I'm starting to think of it further now as well. Like the Helium is a sensor layer to AI. Helium can be to AI the layer where it feels about the real world and knows about the real world. So once you start having these sensors all over the world, you can start doing automation. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
great that we're monitoring temperature, but what if we could react with the systems to actually cool it down if it's too hot, for example? We
Yeah.
could stop waste from happening. We can, start reacting with these sensors and improve situations for a lot of people. So that's the next big thing that I think is going to happen to Helium, is that AI is going to get involved and deal with the data. But we're not even at the stage of rolling these sensors out yet. Like it's like the next stage beyond. We need to get these things cheap and then move on to it, and then that's when it's really going to start changing people's lives when it's automated with
Yeah.
AI, which is going to be so cool.
Yeah. I think of this as if you've ever seen the videos of a debris flow, which is a flash flood. So
Mm.
you're looking at a desert and you're looking at this dry wash, and there's like a little trickle of water, and then there's like
Hmm.
this huge bolus of like water, mud, sticks, and everything. And if you're standing in the way, you're just gonna get knocked over and fucking drowned. And that's kind of where everything is now. Is like everyone's just getting knocked over and like battered all over the place. But eventually, there's just pretty clean water coming through, and if we kind of fast forward that a million years, it's like then you have a nice clean river. And that's kind of the way to think about helium. Is right now, like you are fighting a ton of different vectors that make things really difficult, right? All right, you're a super sharp guy, but you still have this like bigger thing of the hardware problems not being there and the AI
Yeah.
stuff not being quite there yet, and like a bunch of things that are not quite there. I think I mean, clearly both of us think you're positioned super well to take advantage of this, but I think that's always the perspective to zoom out with when you're thinking, why doesn't my wallet work, or why doesn't this tracker work? Like, you're still fighting for your fucking life in the debris flow, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's a struggle, but we're definitely getting some penetration now, which is really improving things. So yeah, over the next year or so, we should do some amazing things. Hopefully, if everything goes as well as we think it's going to go. So I think a lot's going to change, but we struggle with that. We started in helium. We're not an existing business that's come to helium, so
Yep.
we have no proof. So
Right.
we can't just say make this for us, even though we know it will do well. We know it have huge, marketing potential. It's like the pet tracker. I
Yeah.
want to make that thing, but I don't have 100K spare to make it.
Right.
But we don't have enough business history for someone to just make it for us and say, yeah, you're going to do a good job of it. So we need to do a lot of proving ourselves to get to the next stage where we can start making these devices cheaper. But I'm totally with you. Like a humidity sensor shouldn't cost much. Even if you built that out of WizBlock and just put it in a case, it's going to cost less than that. And
Yeah.
then if you did it in bulk, it's going to be even cheaper. But it takes someone to do it for the first time to bring those costs down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's so many sensors I want to do that with. It's like a nonstop
Mm.
thing, and I think it's an interesting piece. Is that I wonder if we start seeing as we get through the crypto winter, and there's always people are always fucking terrified of the economy. But as we get to this place where people are a little bit less terrified, as they start saying, we can start making $100,000 bets. Like, describe the idea to me, and if it makes sense, yeah, we'll throw 100,000 at it. I think we're gonna have that happening reasonably soon. Someone wants to give you $100 for a pet tracker. Thank you, Dustin. Do we have 900 more people?
Yeah, 999 to go. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. So yeah, what else is going on, Neil? You're not touching mobile because that can't that's not working for you outside of the
I
US.
have
So
a I have a 5G hotspot, but yeah, it doesn't do too much. It's not something I could join in on. I
yeah,
think I joined the wait list, and in Wave 1, but I can't use it. So
You should. I wonder if you can sell your Wave 1 ticket.
yeah, I think I can. Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, yeah, that's a funny thing. And then what I think it's also interesting to me now that we're kind of quote through the Solana transition, what's going to come out next from Nova and from the Foundation, and I'm super
Mm-hmm.
curious to see, like, okay, are they going to be like, oh yeah, we've been working on Wi-Fi in the background too, and that's launching, or the Mapper Tower, whatever, the million things that people are speculating on.
Well, Cap keeps showing off. Amir keeps showing off the outdoor Wi-Fi antenna in Discord. There's pictures of it. It's a
Ah,
prototype Wi-Fi antenna for
okay,
outdoors. So that's definitely going to be soon, right? They're testing hardware.
nice. Yeah, yeah. That'll be interesting. I mean, I'm seeing there's an explosion in this whole deep in world. It was early morning my time, but probably mid afternoon your time. I talked to this lady in India today who's doing. Did you see this? This like Uber blockchain thing she's doing.
No, I don't think I did.
Blockchain for Uber. So there's a city in India called Bengaluru. It used to be called Bangalore, fucking 20 years ago. Um, and they've got something. Oh, I'll get the numbers wrong now. But like 60,000, no, 250,000 rides done, 30,000 drivers, and 100,000 riders signed up. And it's basically like Uber, except it's a deep in project. It's been running for a year or two. And they do it. It's this interesting thing where you call for a cab, and then instead of there being like a surge fare like there is with Uber, there's a base fare that's set, I think, by the city, by like the Cab Drivers Association. So they can't go any lower than that. But the cab driver can say, hey, I won't go out of my way unless you pay me an extra $10. Or the driver can say, hey, I'm fucking serious. I want to pay like $32.10 for a $10 ride. Like, I need to get there. And drivers will bid and race on it. It's like, this is the kind of stuff I think we're going to see more and more of in this deep in space. And at some point, it'll get connected up with a tag, right? So you put tags in all the cabs,
Yeah.
and now you get the temperature in the cab, so like, oh yeah, this guy air conditions his cab and that person doesn't, and this guy always gets there on time and that person, like, this shit is happening right now. It's just messy.
Yeah, I spoke to one a while ago. They wanted decentralized deliveries. So, anyone could bid and pick up a package and deliver it and get earn from doing that. So, I just think there's so many uses for this kind of technology, blockchain technology in the real world that just aren't used that Helium enables because you can sense location, improve location.
Yeah, yeah, they were looking for location proving stuff, and I told them to look at GeoNet, but thinking of it, maybe that's an intro for you guys if you're not busy enough.
Always open to talking to people.
Yeah,
There's so much room for everyone, though. Anyone can do these solutions and use our engine. One thing about what we built is we built it so it's stupidly cheap to use. So
right.
it can be called from anyone's systems if they want to build a solution for it. And just lean on what we've done to save them time from having to do it. So
Got it. So I could use this for whatever it is that I want to do. If I want to track paragliders, I can say like, hey,
yeah,
let me use your engine. If I can get within 1,000 feet of a paraglider, I can probably find them. So if they're in the sky,
exactly.
definitely. But even if they're on the ground, okay, that's pretty cool. And then when you're saying stupidly cheap, are there numbers that you can share, or is there like a general kind of thing that you're thinking about?
Uh, I
I mean,
think
I
it's
don't want to
about
lock you into shit in public, so
roughly on the API. We want to get it down so an API call is 0.0006 per uplink.
okay, pretty
Three
cheap.
zeros and a six. Yeah.
Yeah, very cheap for one uplink.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're tracking
Per uplink.
someone
Yeah.
every 10 minutes, that's 6 times an hour. 6 times that is whatever. It's still less than a penny an hour,
hmm
right?
It's dirt cheap. Yeah, it is dirt cheap. I think we worked out like if you use a nanotag, it'd be about $6 a year.
That's amazing. It's amazing. What do you think about the thing? And maybe this is a super long conversation that we don't have a total ton of time for, but the argument that helium is too cheap.
It might be too cheap in certain places, but a lot of places in the world, it's just about competitive. That's
Mm.
what I think. Um, you Americans like to put your glasses on and say that only look at the American market where
Yeah,
there's no competition.
yeah,
You know, there's no
yeah.
competition, so it's too cheap. But if you look in Europe, there's networks all over the show. Like the whole of France is covered by Orange as a
Mm.
network. In Dutch, in Amsterdam and places, you've got KPN as a network. There are other operators all over the world like Senate, Actility. They're in number, and there's enough competition to make it oftentimes better to use those other networks. So
Mhm.
I know people want to increase the price, but they just have to be careful about not making the network too expensive everywhere. And like it
Yeah.
goes back, I think I heard Scott on a call the other day was saying that he wanted to do regional pricing so people can set their pricing for zones. I think that would be all right, but I think it just makes it complicated. Like, how much would a tracker cost me if I run it in the US versus odds? I can't just say one price. I have to make a fluctuating price, so I
Yeah.
can't account for it. So it needs to be one price in my mind. If you wanted to say to me, maybe put it up double what it is now, maybe a tiny bit more, then I'd be okay with that. If you say you want to drop a zero, then I'll move networks.
Yeah.
That because they're cheaper to use.
Yep. Yep. That's interesting because I think it's huh. I think like whatever I do that I get from Paul, I think I'll just 10x the price because it's so cheap and be like, yeah, if you want to use this, here's how to do it. But maybe I've got this advantage being in the States where, or maybe a disadvantage, depending on how you look at it. Where it's like, yeah, there's nothing else to use, so you got to use this. And 10x of 0.00001 is just 0.0001. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, and the way I see it as well is if you're not getting enough sales in your store, you don't put prices up, you put prices down, and that attracts more people into the store. So if we were to put prices up, you're just going to turn people away right at a time where we need it to be cheap. You know,
Yeah.
we need it, and we need the scale. So it's inviting at that price. If you start putting it up, you've just got to remember, like, go buy a LTE SIM card. They cost about $5 a year now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got to be really careful with that price. Otherwise, it's just easier to use other networks.
Yeah. Yeah. I had this like discussion. I think Jeremy and I had this discussion with the guy we were driving across the Utah desert, and he was like, "Why would I use helium when I can use, for around my house, I don't need helium, and it's super cheap to use cell
Mm.
phone for other stuff." And
Hmm.
for his applications, there wasn't a great answer other than like it's probably going to be cheaper. And I think the big thing is there's other aspects beyond just the cost of it. There's also the battery length, which you talked about. In fact, I've got to go
Hmm.
switch out batteries on one of my. I think my driver door has been, sorry, my garage door has been using a helium sensor for I don't know a year, and it's one of those shitty little coin cell like 2032.
Crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like I've got to change it, but it's been a while since I put it in. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
it's like I put an oyster in my car. I've had it on for must be a year and a half, 2 years
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
I've used 1% of the battery. I don't think I'm ever going to have to change that. I don't
Yeah.
think I'll ever need to. It's
Travis
just
always
crazy
talks
what you
about
can do
this.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're absolutely phenomenal, and it's just like set and forget. Whereas, like I said earlier, like with Wi-Fi, you have to have it plugged into the mains. So
Yeah.
it's very limited in what you can do, and that's
Yeah.
where helium will really excel. Places that not traditional markets, but new markets and new areas, that things that aren't tracked and things that aren't automated.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's going to be this it's just crazy explosion. I think with the traffic counters, people counters, monitoring any of this stuff, I think your idea about it all going to AI is, that's going to make this like the same kind of jump as far as technology and understanding the world as has happened. Was it across Africa where they never went to landlines? They just went straight to cell towers.
Mm.
Like that same thing is going to happen with this AI and sensor stuff.
It really is. I mean, like, I don't think people realize how much of my day is run through AI. Like, I write about 10% of the code that I used to because I use AI. And then if I need to learn something new, I just get AI to explain it to me in a way that I
Really?
can understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, like today I was looking at a problem when battery drains on a device. There's a curve to it,
Yep.
so it'll drop off very sharply towards the end.
Yep.
But if I just monitor the voltage level of a battery, it's just gonna drop off really fast towards the end. Whereas if I apply the curve to it, I can better estimate how much of the battery's actually left.
Okay.
So I didn't know how to do that, so I asked AI and it told me, and then gave me code to use it.
That's crazy. Is
So
that just ChatGPT or is that something else?
yeah, ChatGTP, and then obviously my code itself, I use GitHub Copilot, which writes half of it for me. So I just put what comment I want, and it just writes it. So
Jeez.
it takes a lot of guiding, and
Yeah.
that's where my experience comes into play. but as long as you can guide it in the right way, it's just such a time saver. And eventually, yeah, I could start building these systems that actually react with the data and do things with it, which I think is so cool. Like, I think that's the next big thing for Helium, moving into the AI world and dealing with the data. You see a bit of it, like Hive Mapper have got the AI trainer for speed signs and things, haven't they?
Yeah.
Then they got that game on their website where it's like training the AI to recognize speed signs and things like that. How cool is that? That's like a little glimpse of what's coming.
It's that's the thing, is like we're kind of looking through the world through these tiny little glasses, and it's like I don't see much. It doesn't look that bright, and it's like, dude, get those glasses off and stand the fuck by.
Yeah, it's literally the way I think about it. Like, Helium is the sensor network for AI. It's how it works out what's happening in the real world and reacts with the data. Helium is that network that can do that all over the world and not use a ton of battery doing it.
Yeah, no, it's fucking badass. Let's see. Lee and 619 are trying to get me to do this like thing. I can see there's, I don't know, like almost 40 people watching this, and there's only 19 likes. So I'm actually curious how many people would do this, or like what the interaction is like. Is just hit. I guess it's the fucking plus button. I don't use YouTube enough to.
It's a big thumb button.
Yeah, look for that big fucking thumb button and hit it. And let's see if we can get this up to matching the viewer count. Which is always an interesting thing. What's Golem? What's this guy? Anthony? Hallcoin? Oh, it's just some like stupid. Who fucking knows what that is? All right, let me go back in the notes because while we were talking. So 619's got this idea about nanotags for catalytic converters, and it may not be nanotags. I don't know. Do you know what the top temperature range is in those things?
It's it would melt on a catalytic converter.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Maybe someone could do the technology to do it. You know, I'm sure there's a material that won't melt.
Yeah. Because then you track it. I guess the temperature. Sense. He's probably not concerned about the temperature, right? People get these things stolen all the time. I've never had one stolen. Knock on wood. But yeah, that'd be pretty rad.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. It just takes someone with some, knowledge of how to make that thing stick, and you can have a catalytic converter tracker, and it would be pennies a year to run.
It's crazy. And then you'd be like a cattracker.com, which goes back to who's the guy on here who's like, hey, I want to track my lady's cat, which I thought was like, oh, you're just opening yourself up for Michael Paters. Yeah. There's some super funny stuff on there. 619's trying to get me to do shots. Not going to happen. Thank you guys for the thumbs up. I see those coming through.
I'll do some later.
Yeah. Neil will take care of all of mine. He said every F-bomb is one tequila shot, so you're in for about 30 right now. But with your hollow leg, you should be good. What's on deck for you for the rest of the day and then the weekend? Are you coding? Do you take time off? Do you ever take like a day off or no?
I take some time off, yeah. I'm just enjoying what I do. And the thing is I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. So I want to do it all the time. And like, we're just getting so close to having huge rollouts that I just want to spend all my time doing it. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be coding over the weekend. I've got some exciting things to learn and work out how to do. And yeah, just deploy a massive solution. So it's exciting.
It is, yeah. I get the same thing, and then I have to remind myself, like, I got to get off the chair and go, get my face in the breeze a little bit. But it's incredible. I was telling Lee.
My dogs do that for me. My dogs do that for me once a day.
Yeah. Marvel will come out and bark at me and be like, "Hey, dude, let's get outside. Come on." Even God takes Sunday off. I'm not going to get into the Christian stuff, but yeah, I think there's some space for folks to make sure you do take some time off and recharge. But I was telling Lee that this time right now, for whatever reason in my life, and I think it's also to do with Helium, it reminds me of the early part of Helium when we first got into it, Neil. And it was just like you were heads down when the DIY stuff was coming. You're like on Discord all the time, like always like fixing something, always helping people, always doing stuff. For some reason, like all of that stuff is starting to crank up now. And I think that's partly Helium sensor stuff. That's partly this deep in state thing. That's partly like new clients for Max and I who are like, hey, we want to help you. We want your help with this project. Like life is just getting amazingly good and crazy right now. It's a good place to be. I think it's open for everybody.
Yeah, I said that to you a couple of weeks back, was it? Yeah. I said this feels like the time when Binance listed HNT.
That's right.
Really does. Like that was right at the time where everyone started to get serious. It's like looking at my earnings as well right now. I keep thinking, oh, I've got a few hotspots about here. I should really put them on.
Yeah.
And that's been a while since I've wanted to do that. And the same with sensors. Like it's hitting, it's landing, people love them. We're going to start seeing them deploy, and I'm really getting deep into projects.
Yeah.
And it just seems to be happening everywhere. So it's just really cool time.
Oh, it's amazing. Let's see. Let's finish up with this one. Jeff, dude, I have a helium miner. I'd like to explore tracking. What would be a good introductory device to start playing with?
The digital. If you want something cheap, then you've got the Browan tabs. They're great just because it's like I think of these as explainer devices for the network. They're not the best, but they fit in your pocket and they're a great way of understanding the network. But then once you've used that, just go out and buy an Oyster. They're just the best things. They've got a new one now as well, which is even more sharp.
Yep.
And more.
And those things
accurate.
are like what, 30 to $80. Like they're not super expensive. They're not super cheap, but
they're not super cheap. The new one's a bit cheaper as well, so that's a great thing. Like they're just better quality and cheaper pricing, so and smaller sizes. So yeah, just go out there, try Digital Matter. They're great trackers, or Browan tabs, object locators.
Yep.
Or
you can do the nano tag thing on
yeah.
CalChip.
Yeah, nano tags on CalChip. If anyone wants to try these, they're like $25, and our beta's free to use them. So
love it. Love it. Amir Helium said in Discord he wants to come on the Deep in State. Yeah, let's get him on, Max. Let's do it. Ripping. Well, on that happy note, Neil, thanks a ton for coming on. Good to catch up with you. Get back in the coding cave and crush it. Super good to see everybody on here today. Thanks for jumping on State of the Network with us and seeing what's going on. We'll see you next week. And also make sure you're paying attention to this new Deep in State show that Max and I have launched that covers way more than just helium. We've had a bunch of guests on so far. We're getting Sal from EV3 on today. So you get the VC, you get the founder, you get the folks who are just kind of watching stuff on the side. You get new projects, old projects, all that stuff. And that's at Deep in State on Twitter. You can find all that stuff. So ripping. Neil, thanks, dude. I will see you guys next week. Rock and roll.